is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil gameplay for you. And today we'll be talking about the latest trailer that's released at the Sony State of Play of Resident Evil Requiem. So I'm going to go over the things that stood out the most to me, and I'm going to go over every single solitary detail because a lot of things we've already seen, or maybe we've seen but have a little bit more added context to them. But without further ado, let's get into this because we see a whole rehash of, Leon and Grace meeting each other, and basically Leon looking for Dr. Gideon and Grace wondering why Gideon is so obsessed with her, and Leon trying to figure out why possibly Gideon would want Grace. We do see a different area that we haven't seen before that kind of gives the reminiscence of like a prison that basically has people lying down. I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of reminded me of the RE2 remake style of the prison place, the way it's done, but nonetheless, I assume this is probably still at the Roadkill, or maybe it's possibly that. I doubt it, but it gives that little vibe as well. But we get next to a scene where it's basically confirmed at this point that that's SherryBirkin, who's the one giving intel to Leon over the comms, and they're asking each other what they know about Elpis, and it's hard to see and read what's on here. I try the best I can, but basically talking about Raccoon City Syndrome, as well as what causes this, and it seems like obviously it's tied into the Raccoon City survivors if they have a T-virus residual in their bodies, and if it sits over time, as well as the stages of what to notice, and how the most important part is there is unfortunately no cure about it, and that nobody knows anything else about it outside of this initial report. We get to another scene of Leon in a city, and once again, I love these night city shots. They look really, really good, and I can't wait to see it later on in the game. We get a little action sequence of Leon fighting off a bunch of people, I think, in a said city. But then we get to the thing that a lot of people have speculated and was right on the money of why Leon is looking for Dr. Gideon, and as well as the little mark on his neck, as well as eventually what he shows up later on with him taking off his glove, is that Leon is infected. Now, this ties up to a lot of the screens we've seen on the computer of infections going through the hands and the neck area. But what's crazy is this is even the biggest reveal of this scene for me, because we kind of can already speculate this. I'm going to come back to this sequence, but basically it goes back to the line we've heard a lot in other trailers of Sherry saying, "We're running out of time." I want you to remember that, and also remember the fact that Leon was wearing gloves and stuff to kind of hide that he is infected, because that's going to be important on later on in this video. But yeah, Leon is running out of time, as well as basically anyone who I guess has this and is a part of the Raccoon City instance, which gets back to a theory I had that does this tie into all Raccoon City survivors. A huge reveal is showing off a brand new character that has a lot of vibes to already existing characters, as well as tying to a lot of theories which deals with Grace, is this brand new character who I looked up. His name is Emily, and basically Grace finds her, and you can definitely get the vibe that this is a test subject, if not there's more than one, which is also going to tie into a scene later on where basically Victor says that the Grace, my master made you the way that you are, which prompts that obviously Grace wasn't the only one, and that maybe she's the one that's matured the most, which bars other questions. Was that how long has this been going on? We also have a little scene here where we see other similar kids that's got a little bit of a Wesker vibe, as well as Emily giving it a little bit of that Evelyn vibe, so a lot of things possibly tied together. But also a bigger question is, if Grace is technically a test subject, is her parents or legit parents or foster parents? So only time will tell. Another thing I want to point out, though, is that I definitely do like Victor's whole presence. He's very creepy in this trailer. Even though he's confirmed he obviously has a master, which a lot of us speculate. By the way, I love his coat. I love that snake skin coat. Obviously, has got a lot of snake motifs going on with him. I've got theories posted around the snake and serpent. But that coat, especially in the light, is really, really well done. And obviously, he could inadvertently, even though he's one of the villains, he could inadvertently possibly be one of the saviors too, because of he's probably the only one outside of whoever his master is that knows virtually anything. And unfortunately, if they're going to get anywhere with him, they're going to have to be willing to play ball to a degree. So Victor, definitely a presence in a lot of these trailers. We didn't get a really cool sequence of Leon finally going back to where it all began again, Raccoon City. And a lot of people have been speculating this a lot. So we see through the trailer that obviously Grace wants to be brought along for the ride. We don't see her with Leon. We don't know if Leon went by himself or Grace kind of maybe possibly ignored him and went on her own. We don't know. Maybe they got separated. But nonetheless, they're going back to Raccoon City. And then we get to the whole, maybe the biggest scene that a lot of people were talking about, is we finally basically confirmed, if you didn't already know, that that's SherryBirkin. And Sherry looks very good, even though we get a front look at her. I don't know if that's intentional, or maybe because some people might not recognize Sherry, but that's not even the most important part about this scene. So recall I said earlier when Leon took off his glove, he was affected, and we heard Grace basically saying, we're running out of time. The key part is, she didn't say you're running out of time, she said we're running out of time. Why do I bring that up? Well, we already deduced that Raccoon City survivors are being targeted with this new disease and with no cure. And we saw Leon wearing gloves to kind of cover up he was infected. Well, look what Sherry's wearing. Why would you need gloves if you're working at a computer? And we see that a lot of infections start from the hands. So is it the surmise that SherryBirkin is also infected? We don't know. I'm only speculating, but it's enough to deduce. And how many other people are running out of time, or has their time already ran out? I mean, I hate to say that for especially some of the other characters. We've speculated Outbreak characters or the OG characters, but yeah, it's definitely going to be something that we're definitely going to be speculating until we figure it out for ourselves in 2 weeks. The last shot from the trailer basically shows Leon going back to the RPD and opening it up, and yeah, this is definitely going to be a very impactful moment. I'm wondering what survived inside the RPD. Are we going to see that happy birthday sign misspelled on the ground? Are we going to see maybe some of the corpses from people that didn't make it, like Marvin's, who died right there in front of the little statue? Are we going to see other things, callbacks from the original RPD and stuff like that? It's definitely going to be a very, very interesting moment and how far it goes. And also, I'm just curious, is going back to the RPD just more of a fan service moment, or is there going to be a lot more to it? Is it going to be used for possibly like a hub for a laboratory, or is it just part of the ruins we just go through just for an iconic moment to basically return back to our roots? But nonetheless, that is the end of the trailer. So I give you my overall thoughts about all this. First off, I want to state that we did not get a demo. I know a lot of people are speculating a demo. I don't have a problem with a demo not coming, because it's like this. If a demo is going to come, it would have come already. I know somebody will say, well, you know, they released demos for 2 weeks before, and that's fine and all. But I got 2 weeks. I can wait. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is. You know, when 2 weeks come, it'll be over here before you know it. We won't be talking about this. So I don't really have a problem with that. I think the big thing for me in this trailer is definitely the whole little girl Emily, the other little children, and just how we've heard before in the past that this is supposed to tie up a lot of loose ends through Umbrella and stuff, which makes me question how long has this been going on? I mean, it has been going on for a while. Now, granted, we don't know, you know, with Grace, whether she was born naturally now, because that's got to be called into question. Whether she was a test subject from birth, maybe she was abducted at a young age, but she definitely was a success, no questions asked. Well, as you get referred to, you know, Victor talking about a master who we've speculated a lot who it is. Is this going to be a recurring character or a brand new character? I feel like for this type of game, it has to be someone we know, but who knows? Only time will tell. Like, we don't have to wait too long. But also, how many more of these kids are there? Are there any other survivors? And is it similar to, like, maybe like the Wesker children or the Evelyn situation? Is it a combination of both? And ultimately, what are the main antagonists trying to do with Grace? What is their main goal? And because a little moment here, and I've talked about it before, and the last reveal they showed off before this one today, was that it seems like Gideon is just kind of watching everybody. Like, he knows a lot about Leon. He's not surprised or caught off guard by Leon. seems like he's watching and studying as if it's kind of like a huge experiment, and everyone is kind of in their own way test subjects and catalysts and different variables to test how the whole experiment is going to go. We also got confirmation of SherryBirkin, which a lot of people have speculated from earlier trailers, but also increases the possibility that Sherry, like Leon, is also infected, especially with that gloved hand, and Leon having a similar gloved hand in the whole context of we're running out of time, because anyone involved in Raccoon City incident has to be running out of time, which gives me to the point where I'm just wondering, I'm not saying they're all showing up in this game because I highly doubt that, but what is everyone else doing at this time that was involved in the Raccoon City incident? Because just by default, they all have to be infected. So are they just sitting there watching their hands and neck decay over time and doing nothing? I highly doubt that, and that'd be very underwhelming. So I'm just really curious to how it's going to go on. But we are in the final stretches before the game is about to be released. We got 2 weeks left, so we don't have to wait too long to find out what this all means before we can stop our endless speculation and put a lot of fact to what ultimately happens. So hopefully they don't show off anything else, because we really don't need anything else. The only thing I think people were going to talk about is whether they had a demo or not, and they decided not to go with demo. I don't have a problem with that. But that ultimately is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. What's the biggest thing that stood out for the trailer for you? Was it that SherryBirkin's back? Was it a reveal of the new kid character test subject named Emily? As well as the possibility that maybe Grace also may have been one of those test subjects as well as who possibly is the person that Gideon is ultimately answering to. Let me know down below in the comment section, but thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.